good night, Tobago. And we're live with another live viewing of For the Hour on this beautiful, beautiful Monday evening. We had some showers of blessing over the weekend. I want to thank God for that. Wassa also is very thankful because it's the dry season and we're very close, or we might already be on the rationing of water supply. So anytime we get some little rain, little showers during this time, is blessing. Never mind, I watched my car over this weekend, but rain have a funny way of behaving, like, every time I wash a car, rain must come down. But it's alright, I'm thankful for it still. Alright? Yes, so I hope everybody had a beautiful Monday. We have a lot happening in this space for this week and the upcoming weeks. We have SCA examination coming up on Thursday. I want to wish all the Standard 5 students, all the best wishes going into the SCA exam. I hope that everything that you have studied and worked so hard for come to pass, and it's really not too late. Still diligently go into it with confidence, and you will do well. All right. And we had also over the weekend, we had a political meeting happening up in Speyside. The TPP met up in Speyside, and they had all the candidates and stuff spoke there. The chief secretary gave a very hopeful speech as well, and how he sees Tobago coming and what they have accomplished and what is to come. All right, and we're going into Easter, and it's already at a point where I dread every single year, every time Easter time comes around. Movement for Tobagonians is still very limited because for almost the whole of April you can't travel to go anywhere. There is no obviously, if it is that you don't plan months in advance, and by months I mean by January, right? You can't get any business done in Trinidad because you can't travel, and vice versa for Trinidadians coming to Tobago, right? So again, another problem that needs to be fixed and addressed coming up. But Easter is coming, and Tobago is Easter is Tobago, and we have all those activities going on as well. All right. So for the Easter, I urge all the Tobagonians, please be safe on the road, be careful. All right, and have a good time. But tonight we want to discuss very, very serious topic, and I really say it's serious because even though sometimes we catch a joke and we make laugh and think about these matters, at the end of the day they have far-reaching repercussions about how we look and see and take stock and take notice of what is going on. For when the choice comes, right, we could make informed decisions. All right, and I speak to that because we have had some very worrying developments over the past 2 weeks or so in the political arena. I mean, first we would have had, in my opinion, a very obstructionist method when it comes to Tobago's development in terms of the Friendship Estate Road and the injunction that was run against those works for I want to say tongue and country approval, and I don't want to get that wrong, right? For tongue and country approval, we had the secretary come on and clear the air as it concerns to that, and all the qualms that were raised against that road and the development of that road. He came on and he answered all the qualms against it, and that to me is one of the major things that really seat the intent of persons, and I'm not sure who is responsible for that injunction, but it clearly doesn't have an intent behind Tobago. That person or party or group of people doesn't have a view of Tobago moving forward with its development. And next, we would have seen after that one fabricated letter, the next piece of communication is still up to debate or proving, where an integrity commission letter was circulated on social media by, I want to say, a fake profile, right? And it gathered a lot of attention before it had to be addressed by the Chief Secretary himself, all right? In terms of the Integrity Commission, it was a faked Integrity Commission letter that the Chief Secretary had to take time to come and address, all right? And there's also a WhatsApp being circulated as well in this space, and the verdict on that is still out. But we await to see what the verdict on that one is, all right? So we really want to air out the kind of political maneuvering, or if you want to call it political maneuvering, or if you want to call it propaganda, for want of a better word, and if it is that's supposed to be commonplace within the political landscape of Tobago. Is it something that we're condoning, or something that we're vehemently rejecting? Do we need to hold everybody who is willing for political power, or vying for political power, or in political power to a higher standard? We're here to discuss that this evening. To discuss that, we have three guests, no strangers to the show once more, part of our rotating panel of guests. All right. So we have firstly Mr. Ricardo Philip, who is the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement. We have Mr. Leroy George, who's a political activist and community activist, if I could also say. And we also have Mr. Barry Nelson, who is also a political and community activist. Gentlemen, good night, and thank you for coming again to be a part of this discussion and a part of this program. And I wanted to ask, just straight off the bat, is this something that is part of the game? Because I have, for as long as I have been observing politics, I have never seen anything like this. All right? And for the guys who have been studying politics for a longer time than me, you will tell me, is this something that is commonplace in politics? Barry, we'll start with you.
Good night, fellow panelists, and good night to the viewers out there. And I hope everybody have a productive week. Monday have the working day have finished for most people who work 8 to 4, 7 to 3, or the case may be. Well, yes, but as the saying goes, they say politics is the civilized form of warfare. And people will do anything, in order, anything meaning in context and in context there, to get into power, either to get into power or to get those people who are in power out. So over the years, that have been what we have seen here is just the norm. If I should answer the question as straightforward as that.
Right. Ricardo, is that something that you see as commonplace, or you think it shouldn't be a part of political maneuvering? Should we be better?
Well, we should be, but that is how we have been. we have been developing. I don't want to use the word developing reservedly, because it's not really developing. But that is the kind of politics that we have played from the inception. The politics of destruction and division, and the politics of hate and so on. And that's why we can't make any kind of progressive move as a country, as a people, because the politics divide. The need for the desire for power, the love for power has corrupt a lot of people. And I think when you have a society, a populace that is not aware of what is happening, these are the kind of things that politics and politicians will get away with. My politics really is to sort of educate us on what is required from us as it relates to the dynamics of politics in Trinidad and Tobago. There have to be a reset in terms of how we allow politicians to dictate and to create and to traumatize the population We have to dictate. We have to take control of that as a people. We have not been doing that. There's no politics that exists except outside of the politics I'm pursuing that teaches that and help the populace understand that we are responsible for that. And so I would tell you this though, that is simply going to get worse because it seems that nobody is saying, hey, listen, this not supposed to happen, this can't happen, this must not happen, and we're going to take a stand. So it's something that will get worse.
Is it that, well, I will allow Leroy to weigh in on that before I ask any question. Leroy, the same question to you. Do you think that this should be commonplace, or is it being the fabrication of evidence and all these different kind of things? Is that part of political maneuvering for me? Because for me, I have never seen it.
The fabrication of evidence, of course, that's a rhetorical question. Obviously, that has no place in politics, right? Politics is the art of policy making, right? And policy making is very important. And before I go any further on that note, I want to say in your introduction, I strongly disagree with you on one statement you made.
All right.
You spoke about the injunction, I believe, where the Friendship Road is concerned, and you would have stated that whoever would have filed for that injunction does not have Tobago's interests at heart. See that statement you made? There's no room for that in politics. You see, civilization.
We could disagree civilly. Go
civilization needs laws more than it needs roads. If the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago makes room for there to be a tongue and country planning, so we could have a structured society, and if the law says that you must get EMA clearance, and you must get clearance on tongue and country planning, it is more important to maintain the law than to have any particular road. And to state that somebody, a private citizen, right, is wrong for going through the legal and morally appropriate process to enforce law in Tobago, that is bullying of a private citizen. Right? So let us understand that politics is something that needs to be soberly done. So to even speak about false propaganda, somebody write a false letter, say Integrity Commission, etc. We just condemn that and we go past that. And we have sober-minded conversations that take into consideration why are we all here politicking? Why are we all here trying to influence policy making in Tobago? Do we have the right agenda?
In general, and I don't want to spend too much on that, but I'm going to go down on a little bit on why I said what I said. I believe when it comes to leadership, they have a responsibility. Again, in politics, politicians they have to know the difference between what is working, especially when it comes to the legislature. What is working and what isn't working, right? We always have to be reminded that slavery was a law. All right, there are laws that are good and profitable for people, and there are laws that are unprofitable for people. It is the responsibility of the politician and the legislature to understand, to carve out which ones are generally profitable, which ones are unprofitable, because the law can be changed and amended. In the case where I say, the person who has bought that injunction genuinely does not have Tobago, and that's my opinion. You could disagree, right? They don't have Tobago interests at heart. It's because we know, and most people can see the benefit of the road, right? And I want to believe that most Tobagonians can see the benefit of the road, especially in the area. However, the process upon which to get the road done in a reasonable time, going through the proper policy making process that doesn't benefit us in the first place, because remember, there are so many obstacles that we have to navigate as Tobagonians when it comes to these institutions, Tongue and Country being one of them, because it's not even Tobago controlled entity, right?
Nor should it be.
I think it should, right? I think it should. But the leaders now have a responsibility to say, hey, listen, we understand that, hey, this organization may not have our best interests, or it may work against us in this development. Why? We need to be able to, hey, let's explain to them, this is why we need certain institutions in Tobago. However, we still have to be development to go forward with, and we can't let that get in the way. And I am in full support of us moving forward to get our development done, right?
So you ignore the law, you break the law, that's what you say?
I generally, if it is that, and I wouldn't say I'm not saying law,
That's
but
a
policy,
question, yes.
policy, right? Policy, because they didn't break any laws. The secretary said that they didn't break any laws concerning the highways, and
They broke the law.
Well, you will have to take, you have to take it up.
Are you saying that
you
the
will
secretary
have,
said that they didn't?
you
break
will
the law?
have to take it up with the secretary when it comes to the interpretation of
Well,
that.
well,
But
Mr.
in your
Moderator,
opinion,
there's-
they break the law.
Mr. Moderator, you know, the sentiment I'm getting here is that, and I understand the frustration of the people of Tobago as far as development is concerned,
Right.
and so many things. I'm sympathetic and understand that. You know, as it stands, Trinidad and Tobago, and we have a law that governs Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
Tobago, I don't want to go into that too much, but Tobago is not an island by itself.
Right.
Tobago has to abide by the laws and the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago,
Right.
and the institution that is established to treat with certain issues.
Okay.
And I'm simply saying, that notwithstanding the frustration and the challenges that we have to go through day to day, every single day, we live it every day. We also have to be mindful that we have to find the legal way of treating with these issues, these challenges that we face. Now, there's a culture, there's a trend that, okay, because it's difficult for us, we could circumvent and we could undermine and we could navigate around and so on. And that doesn't work too well with me, because it buys into the culture of lawlessness, and you have that, you create that confusion, and you create and let me tell you something, not everybody in Tobago would support that kind of thinking, even though some may argue that's in the best interest of the people of Tobago. The method of approach, not everybody in Tobago will support that. All right, I'm saying, so we have to be very careful how we balance this.
That's why I say it's always a balance to know, the leaders have to know when it is a law or policy is working for them or when it's working against them. So they would know, hey, this is something that we need to maneuver with and change. Because at the end of the day, the road is not something that they was trying to do. This is not something that they were trying to do in 5 years, the last 5 years, right? The road was actually planned since before 2010. They acquired the road in 2008. So this is something since over London days they're trying to do.
Right.
If it is that they were trying to get that accomplished through the legal means, right? We're in 2024. What has that gotten us? Where has that gotten us?
I get you.
No
I get
road.
you. I get you. And I want to agree with a point that the brother made. It doesn't necessarily mean because
careful
somebody's
that what you're saying is
against
true.
somebody's against you know, what we would see as development. Doesn't mean that they don't love Tobago. Doesn't mean that they don't have Tobago best interests at heart.
And I would stay on my opinion that, again, because everybody's entitled to their opinion. My opinion is,
Well, remember the arrangement allows.
if you are against any development that is clear net benefit to the people of Tobago, clear. There's no opinion about it. The road is a net benefit, right?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you are against that, in my opinion, this is no opinion of no secretary or anything, right? And I say to my opinion as the guest of the show. Fine, no problem. As the host of the show.
host of the show, right.
No problem.
Familiar enough.
Yes. Right? It's my opinion that your alignment to the interests of Tobago has to be questioned.
Mr. Moderator, I've seen that happen over and time again with different political party when they choose on the other foot. That has happened. That has always been part of the political dynamics of Tobago and the stymiing of Tobago's development. I've seen that happen over and over and over. I'm simply saying that the law allows for people to react in that way. The law allows for that. And they may have their reasons.
Right.
But to cast them or typecast them as not having Tobago's interests at heart is not necessarily true.
It might not be true, but again, it's my
But
opinion.
you have an opinion.
Yeah, all right. Let me take that. Once it's an opinion.
Yeah, it's an opinion. I
Right.
ain't saying it's fact.
No, I just want to ask Leroy, the airport that is building, did that have town and country approval?
The airport that is building.
Yeah, the airport terminal.
Because the terminal.
It
No, I'm
shouldn't have
asking
any
you.
approval.
No.
Why it
does
shouldn't
that
have approval?
town and country
Why
approval?
it shouldn't have any approval?
Yeah.
Because it should not be built by central government in the first place.
Well, I agree with you on
The
that.
fifth schedule states that airport is supposed to be built
By the THA.
by
I did-
THA.
I did the question I
everything
asked.
pertaining to that airport. So, right? If your point is that it doesn't have, it shouldn't even be happening. So I'm with you. I'm with
Yeah, agree
you.
with you.
A million,
Technically, yeah, technically, I agree.
gazillion percent. That project, an injunction should have been made when Hochoy Charles called for it, right? The moment we discovered that those persons that were being relocated were not getting sufficient compensation according to the persons that evaluated that purchase them, evaluated
Yes,
the
injunction then.
value of their properties, etc. And the fact that that did not happen was a betrayal both by the present THA administration and the past
And the past
THA
one.
administration and the present
Well,
central government.
that should have never been handled by-
So, yes, Mr. Barry, I agree to 100%. That situation is just 100% wrong.
What is the
Multiple
question?
things could be. The question is, does it have tongue and country approval? If the answer is no, right?
The answer
and I would
is
not
no.
be surprised that the answer is no.
Yeah.
Then it is wrong.
Is it
Period.
required to have tongue and country?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Respective.
also required.
And it is required to have tongue and country
And
approval.
EMA approval.
That is way too big to not have tongue and country approval.
Correct.
That being said, right, you have your opinion, but Mr. Ricardo did ask a very direct question if
About-
it is okay to break the law in this scenario. And the reason why I want to bring it back to that, you use the analogy of slavery. Slavery used to be a
Slavery
law.
was a law. Yes, it was enshrined.
If we want to be on this side of the camera of the people's television screens and want to be taken seriously when we voice our opinions as it pertains to policy making, right? Let's ask, is it really serious to is it really appropriate to compare slavery, right, to the law that says that infrastructure needs to be
Let's
structured
move on.
in
Let's move
Tobago?
on. Let's move on.
And I would answer
Is law
I would answer his question
is
and then
law
we will
less
move on.
important than road infrastructure? Yes or no?
Right. So I as the moderator on the show,
Yeah.
I don't get tired with yes or no questions
Okay.
and binary questions, right? Questions get
But it's not a
answered with
question for you,
context.
it's a question for the people of Tobago.
All right.
Is
Well, and
law
they
more
can
important
answer
than
that. And they
infrastructure?
answer that, right?
Yes or no?
When you have laws and you have policy that keeping people that are binding people, right? And keeping people, and I'm saying enslaved for want of a better word.
Enslaving, say it freely.
Right?
Enslaving.
It needs to be looked at and revised.
Are we agreeing with that?
And you're going to have people.
We agreeing with
I
that.
not say broken. And again,
And there's an appropriate way to revise these things.
I did not say
That's what we
I
got.
did not say broken. And if it is that you're accusing Secretary James of breaking the law, you will have that conversation with him, right? But in my opinion, when you have laws and policies, and that's the reason why I brought up slavery was a law, because I could make a comparison to laws and policies that are enslaving people. And those, when you have those laws, people revolt and people end up.
This is revolt worthy.
I would say in this case, and I'm not saying Secretary James is breaking the law. I'm saying you would have people looking for ways to maneuver wrong policies when they are restrictive and enslaving, right?
And that is okay.
Again, I am not saying that Secretary James break the law, but that's my
Talking
opinion.
morally, it's okay.
But Mr. Moderator, just one point. There's a dynamics that we haven't discussed, and we need to discuss in the whole scenario of politics and propaganda.
I like this conversation, by the way.
In Tobago.
I like this conversation.
Because we have to take into consideration the way politics is played out. Now, really and truly, what we see happening here is unavoidable. It's guaranteed to continue. Because when you have the power play, that is, you have to take into consideration in all of this. You have 2 members of parliament in Tobago that represent one party. You have the Tobago House of Assembly that represents another party, all vying for the approval of the people. Listen the mess that we're in.
Yeah.
PNM, East and West, TPP or PDP, THA. Everybody wants to vie. Everybody wants to prove that they are the best to run and to lead and to hold power and so on. I have no other expectation that this will get messy.
Yeah.
It will get messy because of that type of political dynamics. Now, Brother Leroy said that politics is about making policy and so on, and I'm trying to figure out, whether or not we understand any part of that is about making policy.
Policy, yeah.
Because for me, I am mature enough that if I'm in a different political persuasion, I am mature enough. If you do something that I see can develop the island, I should be able to say, yes, that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. That would work.
General.
I still have enough to challenge you on to advance my own political philosophy and ideologies and so on. By telling you, yes, that's a good thing. No, well, you can do it this way. Because fundamentally, we have the interests of the people of Tobago and the development of Tobago at hand. What we're saying is that the people of Tobago and the development of Tobago is in the middle of a quagmire, a big mess in terms of political pulling and tugging. And that is the problem. That's the dilemma we're in as a people of Tobago. Now, Tobago cannot. Tobago, given our economic status, there is no kind of real development that could happen in Tobago. That central government reliance cannot develop Tobago. It cannot develop Tobago. And let me just stop fooling ourselves. PNM have fooled us for 22 years. Take how much years to build a roundabout and then build a... It cannot develop Tobago in any rapid, as we see development happening in Trinidad. Because when the budget is decided, Tobago is part and parcel of all the elements of Trinidad and Tobago that need funding. Tobago is a part of that. Yeah. There is no dipping in anything and say Tobago, well, hey, go and fix all the business. You think Tobago so, that won't get so. That is how the budget is being done. When Tobago gets what it gets, you now have to try to figure out. And that's and all political parties and politicians in Tobago have to agree. That is how Tobago gets its funding. What do we do now to ensure that we're in a better economic place to really and truly develop the island? We are not agreeing on that. What we're doing is that we're being underfunded, and when we get underfunded, we sit down and we fight with each other. With the underfund that we get. And those who underfund us sit down and say, laughing at us. We are fighting with the underfund, the little bit of pittance that we get. That can't do no kind of development on the island. You have to patch roads, you have to take the money and all kind of dynamics you have to do to manage it. And then you now fighting among yourself. You're on war with yourself over nothing. That's the reality of Tobago. There's no development Tobago can have. And that's why you have all this back and forth and this bickering with road and a whole set of nonsense that makes no significant impact in terms of how we move forward as people in Tobago. As I said, we can be of different political persuasion. We can disagree. And we can also agree when we make sense as a people.
Right.
That's the kind of politics I want to see.
Right. I want to humor myself a little bit with this, with these articles of stuff that was going around on the social media over the past week or so. The letter and the WhatsApp. And I am studying the person who came up with it, or whose idea it was to fabricate it. And I really question the intelligence of that person, because you could easily debunk, that's something you could easily debunk in terms of our official letter coming from our official state entity, right? Being able to fabricate something like that and it not be debunked in quick fashion, right? You must have thought at some point, or considered at some point, hey, this is going to be debunked in probably a day or day. What am I trying to accomplish there? Right? What I wanted to get, like, if you could get in the mind of that person who created that.
Just show more than you want.
I was like,
nobody cares about
what's the point?
the intellectual value of it and all that. Just show it.
Go ahead, Leroy. What's the point in that? What you think the point
I see
was?
the potential for a point. No, much of what had to be discussed is figurative, because the letter is nonsense.
It's fake. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's 100% fake. Mm-hmm. And I saw the letter that the People's National Movement Tobago Council put out, mm-hmm. and they highlighted a very important point in paragraph 3. Mm-hmm. They say that the first person that they saw put the information out there into the public space mm-hmm. is the Chief Secretary. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, if the Chief Secretary is the first person that puts the information out there into the public space, then one should then ask, what does it benefit the Chief Secretary to put it out there in the first place? Mm. And as you said, there were many mistakes in the letter, many mistakes in terms of date, in terms of this, that, the other.
The person
and
who signed it and all
easy
that.
to debunk that if anyone was to jump on that letter, and I didn't see anybody jump on the letter, right? But if anybody in the PNM camp or in opposition to the THA Executive Council was to jump on that letter and say, hey, that letter there is proof that these people corrupt and blah, 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 and they're under investigation and blah, 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 then that person would have looked stupid, right? And so one could say that it could be, right, figurative, that it was put out there as bait that nobody took. And since nobody took it, why are we here discussing it?
No, my brother, that's I disagree with you 100% of that, you know. There are countless people right now who believe that is a valid. The person who put it out there, you might think this person, you know, right in the head. But you throw that out there, and whatever fish bite, whoever pick it up, the election is coming up just now. These are the things that people will be considering. And remember, this is the kind of society we're dealing with. We are not dealing with, and I say this without no, you know, insult or intent to insult anybody. We're dealing with a society that is gullible. We're not dealing with a society who likes to fact check anything. We're dealing with a society who runs on propaganda. We're dealing with a society who is emotive about these things. When it comes to politics, all we want to hear is a story and we run with it. People vote politicians on false premises and false information for umpteen years. So you throw that out there, and there are people who is going to, until the day they die, going to run with that as facts. And that's the reality out there. You and I would not. You wouldn't run with it, Barry may not, moderator may not. But there are lots of people out there who will pick that up and run with it as facts. And no matter what you say, not going to change that.
You know what has amazed me? Leroy, you just amazed me. You said that they throw it out there and nobody responds. So the PNM Tobago Council had a press conference concerning that? Where was you went Mars and
about that letter?
I
saw the PNM press conference.
Right. And what was the PNM
I want to lend legitimacy to is the screenshot.
The WhatsApp.
The WhatsApp screenshot. But nobody in that you cannot.
You did not hear the Mr. Dennis saying that the Integrity Commission is investigating the secretary?
The Integrity Commission isn't investigating the secretary, not based on that particular letter. Chief Secretary or which secretary?
The secretary.
The secretary.
Oh, the secretary.
Mr. James.
No, I didn't hear him say that. Okay. He said that?
I didn't hear the.
What did you say?
I didn't listen to
What do you think when you say investigating?
You him say it?
No. But I'm asking, when you say investigating a secretary or a minister, what do you think that means? Integrity Commission.
Well, the Integrity Commission is presently investigating the Chief Secretary and it's also investigating the Secretary for Education. That is a truthful
We're not talking
statement.
about that. We're not. Let
As
us,
it pertains
I'm
to
asking
the
you,
letter,
and I'm asking you,
as
what
it
you
pertains
think?
to the letter, I am stating, we've heard the moderator state, we haven't heard Ansel Dennis made that statement. No, did you hear it?
No, I
is
did
the
not. I
question.
did not. I
So
did not.
therefore, Barry Nelson is the only person that would have heard that. And so now we could have a conversation about what is reliable sources of information and what is unreliable sources of information.
I wouldn't have a
Three-quarters
conversation
of the
on that
person-
if I didn't hear. I wouldn't
person
want.
sitting
I
at
wouldn't-
No,
this
well,
table
we
did
didn't
not
hear
hear
because
such
we didn't listen to the
at
press
Yeah,
conference.
but
So
I
if we
listened-
listen
I
to the
listened
press,
to it.
I didn't
Okay.
listen to it, so I don't
Okay,
know. I
listen
can't
to it.
argue
I
that.
didn't
whether
listen
it's
to the
true or not,
press
so
conference.
it doesn't make
So,
sense. to
Mr.
proceed
Barry
on.
Nelson, what you probably need at this point is to get somebody else. It's probably not
No, I
gonna
don't-
go
I don't-
yet.
I don't-
Or you could
I
get a
don't-
co-sign that they
I
have
don't.
such a
No,
thing.
no, I don't.
Because it could be that he said such a thing and I missed it.
I
but
don't waste time
nobody
on
here
listening to.
has heard
I
it.
was just passing by, so probably you're correct. I don't waste time on
Right.
listening to the PNM news
Well, I'm the
conference
only
and
person who
Ansel
listens.
Dennis and the
Yeah.
minority leader. I don't waste time on that.
Barry, so it's possible that you misunderstood.
Well, yes, well, I will
all
take
right,
that.
all
Yeah,
right.
I will
Okay,
take that.
okay, okay,
I don't
okay.
waste time. I don't waste time on the what? Ansel Dennis and
Now he does watch it
Kelvin.
diligently.
Well, I don't have no interest
Yeah.
in those. I interested.
Is that anti-PNM sentiment I'm hearing?
in what?
Anti-PNM
No,
sentiment?
I don't have time to waste.
Oh, okay.
But you know what I keep hearing as a recurring theme?
I thought we came here
have
to
to
talk
be
about the
able to
meeting.
agree.
I thought we came here to talk about the meeting in Space High.
the meeting in Space, but we
could
Well, you want
We're
to get our program to that?
No,
meeting
well,
session?
that was the topic I was
Yeah, but we'll
called-
get to that, Barry. I
Yeah, we will get to it.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
going to
get
brush on
to
it,
it,
man.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna-
So you want to talk about
No, I came here
your
to,
party?
No, don't get me wrong. I came
No, you
here-
want to talk about your party?
No,
That's
no,
what you
no,
want to talk about.
no. I said I was called to this program on that. I was given a topic.
Yes.
Okay.
Politics and propaganda.
Yeah?
Politics and propaganda.
And the meet, yeah,
Right.
which concerned the meeting that took place in the
Yeah.
I was too. So
That was a subject.
that is why I'm so quiet. So I'm just waiting you all. When you all reach that topic, I will take it.
All right, no problem, no problem.
And we can get straight to it if the moderator is okay.
No, but I wanted to ask
No, we
one
can't
more
rush
que-
him on the train.
I wanted to
Yeah,
ask
things
one
set
more
out. Remember the
question
man
on
has
this
to plan
thing.
his thing all along.
When the PNM put out their press release on the same fake integrity commission letter, I saw that they would have put out that, all right, well, we deny that we were the ones responsible for that in the first paragraph. And then they went on to reference the rest of the WhatsApp, the WhatsApp, and that should be investigated and stuff. I commented on the press release, and I would have said, I said they should have stopped at the first paragraph.
Which I strongly disagree with.
I think that they should have stopped on this first paragraph, because anything else after that is, to me, it makes the party look a little bit suspicious, right? I wanted, seeing as though you on the program tonight, I wanted to ask you that question directly.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with it. I think the third paragraph was more important than the first paragraph. Yes, as you said, they deny having anything to do with that fake letter, right? But it is not in the first paragraph where they actually give you an alternative as to where that particular letter may have come from based on whatever they feel motivate their suspicion. And they would have pointed out that the chief secretary is the first public official they saw to bring that information out there on a public platform. And the common recurring theme I'm hearing today is the need to agree to disagree. Now, I could state that the fact that, or if it is a fact that the chief secretary was the first person to put it out there, does not necessarily mean that it's the chief secretary or that it came from the QTP camp, right? Because it could have been circulating maybe WhatsApp, etc. underneath. And
Well,
the
it
chief
was
secretary
before.
see it
Yeah.
and say, look how ridiculous these people could be at times, right? But in order to figure out what is and what is not, we need to follow the known leads and the leads that are not known, either which way. And I think Mr. Ricardo may have alluded to it, if not during this program, just before the program began. Some things aren't really deserving of that much conversation. It's a fake letter, and I think we all denounce it.
Well, we just have to understand also that, you know, when the way politics is being played in Trinidad and Tobago, you have operatives in all parties.
Oh, yes. That's an important point.
Yeah, operatives. Their agenda has nothing to do with the approval of the Prime Minister or the Chief Secretary or the leader of any particular party. They are operative. They understand how to stir up things and to create confusion and to create chaos. That's their job. So we have to be, as I said, we have to always bring it back. As opposition politicians, we have to bring it back to what makes sense. And I say we can't pursue these things all the time because, you know, when we do, they accomplish their objective. And as I said, once you put something out there are people who's going to believe it until the day they die.
Right.
There's still some people who believe Elvis Presley is still alive. And Bob Marley still alive and
Still
all that kind
alive,
of Michael
yeah,
Jackson
correct.
there and all that kind of stuff. No matter what proof you give them. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that we as the opposition politician is not to feed on that, but to bring it back to some sense so that we can discuss what is important.
And that's what happened here tonight. Everybody denounced that particular letter as
Fair enough.
foolishness.
Fair enough.
Persons
So-
who are viewing,
Where I want
know that you're
to
not standing on watch.
what I want to
That
say,
letter.
what I want to say concerning that before we move on to the next topic with Barry.
I'll give Barry your own show, eh?
Yeah. Well, he come with his intentions. I allow him.
I was told.
I go allow him.
No.
Yeah. So as it relates to the WhatsApp, and this is why I'd always be vehemently against any kind of form of communications outside our email, and the form of communication that you're supposed to be using is used for a reason. You could verify emails very easily. Who sent it? It is very, very difficult to know in terms of if our WhatsApp is legitimate, especially a screenshot. I remember back in me, my partner telling me, hey, he ain't getting trouble with the girlfriend. And he just allowed his partner, he saved the girl name, right? And his partner, under his partner's number, and allowing the girl to message him. The partner to message him as the girl so that his current girlfriend wouldn't know anything going on. You understand?
Right.
And that is how dangerous WhatsApp could be. All you need is two SIM card and it could fake messages. It had disappearing messages. It have messages you could only allow certain people to see. So it's not a credible form of communication for anything.
I was silent all the time, but I just wanted to say this thing concerning. I wasn't getting into the letter and the fake email. I don't have time for that. No, Leroy is so pathetic. I'm asking you, if the Integrity Commission did not come out and say that letter was not authentic, Leroy would have believed that the letter was authentic. I'm telling you, that is how so pathetic.
I don't know if that is correct, but Leroy, please don't encourage that.
Well,
let me move on.
No.
Let me move on now, please.
It doesn't need to be discussed because there are facts and there are
Exactly.
opinions.
That's his opinion.
The
All right,
fact is
good.
nobody.
We had
nobody
to touch on the chief's speech before we leave here, right? So the TPP, Tobago People's Party, had one of their first public meetings in Speyside yesterday. And so a number of members of the party came forward and they would have given some speeches. My takeaway from it was mainly from the Chief Secretary's speech and the fact that when he came and he spoke to many different things. One of the things he spoke to was the amount of stuff that they got done during the short tenure that they were there. So the common phrase was in under 2 years, in under
Like
2
what?
years, in under 2 years.
What's some of the claims? Just briefly.
Well, I have a few. They reached phase 2 in the fishing depot in Paltivier. Study Park Fishing Depot was upgraded and renovated. The food hub was repurposed and renovated. They did the preparation works for mega farming, agriculture and research unit. They outfitted the Roxborough Hospital and staffed it. The Black Rock beach facility that they did the beach volleyball for the Commonwealth Games, and they did one road. The next one is not completed yet. The Smithfield and Connector Road. They repaired numerous schools. They boasted that the schools they spend they spent one of the largest sums of money repairing schools in recent memory. Also, they would have spoke about, on average, and I think was that might be a little bit semantical there, but they say that on average per year they would have given out more houses than the PNM did in the entire tenure. So in the 21 years, you average out for four homes a year, and they would have already surpassed that in 2 years, right? Bit semantical, but you get the point, right? So he would have spoke about that, those accomplishments. He would have also spoke about the time, or the rough time that he would have gotten since they got in office, whether it be from the PNM political party in Tobago and Trinidad, just to get things done. And also he would have spoke about the Tobago autonomy and the process, and wanting Tobagonians to take more action and be more involved in that discussion towards autonomy. All right. So all of that being said, and also that he said that the internal party elections would be taking place in June of this year, and he wants everybody in the party to feel their own slate of candidates and everybody to compete, but they don't want it to be a sideshow like how the election was for PNM in, I think it was 2017, that ultimately saw to their downfall, right? So I just asking Barry, because Barry was there. Did you attend, or you just listen to the?
Of course I was there. Of course.
You was there.
Up front and personal.
Are you putting up a slate?
You're contesting any seats or anything?
I can't answer that right now.
You can't answer it, okay.
A day in politics is plenty.
So what did you think about what the chief had to say, or if anything that any other candidate had to say on stage when?
Right. The greatest sight and achievement I would have said for the last 2 years is how they disappoint people like Leroy and Ansel Dennis and Kelvin Morrison and the PNM party, that the group, Farley and friends, so to speak, how Leroy said that they was seen that they were together and keep standing, and that the government did not crumble and disintegrate, and that our election was not called in the last 2 years, and that come June the 2nd, the party, the People's Party, the Tobago People's Party, will be having their internal election, and Leroy is free to come and put up his name for any position in the party.
So is it that you have to be a member to contest?
Yeah, well, he could come and register as a member. He could come and register.
Registration
As if he was a member, that's what I'm asking.
No, well, I'm inviting him to become a member. Yeah, could become a member.
It's free. He said that.
So that was the greatest achievement. That's they went through so many trials to bring them down, and to see that after 2 years, the government of the day that was duly elected is still standing and going strong, and he lists out all those achievements. And one of the major achievements that you miss was that all teachers would have gotten their gratuity of tune of 8 million, and all teachers have contracts so that they could go to the bank in a dignified matter, in a dignified way, to get loans so that they can
buy cars and houses and all that.
So Leroy, eat your heart out.
Barry, so tell me, what part of that you think? I mean, given the list and what you added, what part of that make you feel proud as a Tobagonian in terms of that achievement?
The list of the achievements.
Yeah.
So you're not a.
No. I'm asking you. No. Don't get defensive. I'm just asking you what part of that, or what was read that you felt proud and pride in?
Because that we have seen what we read out there by the host, that helps to create a good landscape for Tobago. That means Tobago is beginning to develop, and the structure and a framework is being formed within 2 years of them being in power with little or no resources.
That's your take home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't see no take home in that? What is your take home?
Mr. Morris, I know he was going to say something.
No, well, I would say in terms of what they really had, it should be commended, because what they really had to deal with in the first instance is very limited in terms of the budget that they have. Max was here last week. Max said that I do not, as a former secretary, he said, I do not know how it is that they're getting so much things done with the budget that they have.
So I said that.
You said that? Yeah, okay. So I give brother credit, I give Max credit. Right? So they don't know how it is that they're getting so many things done. Because over two budget is what, about 5 million? A little under 5 billion.
Yeah.
5 billion, sorry.
Yeah.
Right? And you have so many outstanding debts that you have to pay, and there's the salaries that you have to pay. There was an expansion of government, right? In terms of more secretaries and everything. But yet you're still seeing development works, you're still seeing roads getting paved, you're still seeing buildings getting constructed.
Yeah. If I may interject here.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take, and Barry can answer too, of the expectation of the people as far as this administrative
Expectation, the people.
expectation of the people? Now,
Very important question.
Chief Secretary Farley lists all his achievements, right? The question I'm asking is, what is your take or your understanding of the expectation of the people of Tobago as far as that administration is concerned?
Well, I go back to the electoral process, right? Leroy might think with me in terms of, but the party put forward a manifesto,
Thank you.
right? But that was PDP before, right?
you.
And the manifesto, when I generally judge the performance of what I want, I vote you based on what you present to me in your manifesto, right? And I can't speak for the people at Tobago at large, but for me personally, I voted based on. So when I vote and I say manifesto, that is what you're supposed to deliver to me in your term, right? Or at least by the end of your office, right? Now, seeing as though that is not the PDP anymore and is now the TPP, right? Leroy might say they might have abandoned that manifesto. I still am keeping them to that manifesto because it's more or less the same team, even though it's a different skin. It's the same team, persons behind it, and they might have. Obviously, a lot of time and pen and resources goes into it. You can't just change that in between. But what I want for the people at Tobago is what I agreed upon when I didn't vote for them, because I didn't vote at all, right? But when it is that I saw the manifesto put forward and I agreed and I said, yes, this could augur well for the people at Tobago development going forward. That is what I generally want. And that is what we expect all leaders to do. Put forward what your plan is for the island. You convince the people, yes, okay, this is what we want to do for you. This is the direction we're going on. If it is that the people like it, they vote you in, right? And as far as I am concerned, the attempts so far is heading towards what they had promised in the beginning. Yeah. Again, 2 years is a very short time to really judge on all the things that they had put forward, but what they got to accomplish during that short 2 years was I think should be commended.
You know, I run a business, and it took me a while to come to this realization, but I had to come to that realization by the hook and the crook. The customer expectation, when a customer come by you and say, I want X, they leave with an expectation. When they come with an expectation, number one, and they leave, believing that expectation will be fulfilled. And so, early in my business years, you give an excuse once, you give an excuse twice, and people would, all right, but third time, no.
Yeah.
Because you have not met the expectation. The expectation remains the expectation based on what you would have promised, what you would have said, what you would have advertised, and what they believe you can do.
Right, as I said.
People don't read manifestos to determine who to vote for. I mean, you would probably read it, Leroy read it, I and Barry might read, but generally people don't read manifesto and say, oh, I can't vote for that party. there's a natural expectation that politicians, and this is functional part of Trinidad and Tobago politics, that politicians would deal with the issues as important to me because I taking it personal. When I vote for you, I take that personal.
Generally, yeah.
This has nothing to do
So it's
with
what you could do
party
for me
achievement,
as opposed to...
accomplishment and ability, my expectation. And that is what politicians have to measure all the time. When you're talking about your achievement, have I met the expectation of, not everybody, but have I generally and fairly met the expectation of the people that supported the party?
I have a different ethos when it comes to that. My ethos is I do for me, right? What I depend on the government for is to create an environment so I can do for me.
Right. And that's the expectation I'm talking about. Because what you have is that the politics and the election campaign, if you go back to the election campaign, clearly, one of the mantra, the tagline of that election campaign is Levy fix it. So that created an expectation. That was the main tagline, Levy fix it. That create an expectation. Disappointment came when Watson was kicked out or left. I'm not sure what really transpired there. Watson was in the meeting.
Why would he be in the meeting?
I don't know. Barry.
He would not be there. Why would he be there?
I see some people close to him in the meeting.
Yeah, right. So you never know the thing working. So I'm saying the expectation that I have is that this party would have really made an impact in terms of fixing what is fundamentally wrong with Tobago. One, the economic scenario that we face. So when you go on a political platform and say, well, we have achieved this and we have achieved that and we have achieved that, that doesn't really connect in terms of my development. I still see that as failure. It is failure on my part.
Okay.
Right, because I'll tell you this, you make a point, very important point. If your job is to create that environment that allows me to prosper, and you weigh off of that, what you do...
Some might disagree with you on that, but...
But I'm telling you, that is, the system that's happening now is what the PNM have done. The PNM have done that, the UNC have done that, and all previous political parties have done the same, itemizing their success and not connecting the success to the development of the people. So you itemize the success and you walk away with your tail up in the air thinking, well, you have accomplished and we have done good for the people of Tobago. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying for those who support me will see that way, but for the people of Tobago or the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you claim the entire island, but you're not making the assessment based on the entire island. Listen, when I wake up in the morning, I expect Chief Secretary Farley and his party administration to do what we elect them to do. When you fix a road, you don't know how, bow to you. That's your job. That's your duty. Fix the road. Now remember, as I said, the customer doesn't care what you have to do to ensure that you give them what they need. The customer doesn't matter that. He comes with an expectation and either leave disappointed or satisfied at the end of the day. That's the only two things that matter.
You pay your money.
You pay your money. So when I collect money from people, I just go in a different mode, a different kind of panic mode.
No excuses.
No excuses. What you have to do to ensure the job is done, that is important. I don't walk away thinking, well, at least that's good enough for them. I can't do that. I have to do plenty of dynamics. I have to go into ensuring that I give the customer. I don't always get it right, but I have to make sure that I employ a particular pattern, a particular behavior to ensure that I will satisfy
No. I'm really flabbergasted.
You can be flabbergasted.
Let Barry.
I expect this is your party, Barry, and I expect you to. This is your party. You know, when you say these things about PNM, you're not flabbergasted and you're not this and you're not that. But your party, you want everybody on this panel to go away and say, yes, Barry. Yes, and we agree, and we feel good about that. No.
After I done speak, you will say yes, Barry. And
all right, well,
you are telling me the Roxborough Hospital was just a shell. The secretary for health commissioned that hospital so that people from the east, Charlottesville, Speyside, Delaford, don't have to come into Scarborough for health service. And you are telling me the taxi drivers, people complaining about the roads bad. They have the shocks bad, and they have to spend so much money in maintenance. Two, the contract teachers are saying that they have not seen a contract for almost 15 years. And in 2 years' time, teachers can see get their 3 years contract. They get the back pay, the gratuity payment.
So it's a favor. No, it's a favor.
And
No, okay, that's your job.
No, but the
that
thing
is your job.
The thing is,
Listen, Mr. Moderator Barry, that is your job.
I am not.
That is your job.
I'm not agreeing with Barry.
I am not here celebrating you when you do your job. You do your job. You do
right,
your
and
job.
finally, and they fix it.
Barry,
the PNM was not doing
Barry,
that.
there's a lot of things that the PNM
It wasn't being done.
A lot of things. Okay, the PNM created a roundabout. That Hucha and them didn't create. PNM created a roundabout, ease up traffic around that area. There was so many accidents. There's a lot of things that the PNM did. Save lives. A lot of things that the PNM have done. What they did, they cuss them, they accuse them, they abuse them, and all kind of stuff. Now you want us to sit here and rate you that you have given you furnished your hospital and you're giving teachers the back pay, and you want us to that is your job. Let us talk about
what?
Let's measure our success on the expectation on the island, so that the people of the island can develop. When you start to pinpoint stuff, Barry, I could tell you a million other things that is bad, that is more important.
For example,
but the thing is, again, we have to also take into consideration the time frame upon which these people were in office.
I would like to get in the conversation.
I will allow it again now, because it's time for me to wrap up. So I'll allow you.
So the recurring theme that I've been seeing throughout this entire conversation, right, is what is true to you. Right? There are things that you said that is also true to me, but maybe he would have disagreed with. And there's things Ricardo said that I disagreed with, right? We don't have enough time to itemize it. Yeah. What is true for you, right? Now, Mr. Ricardo didn't ask me, but I would like an opportunity to answer a question. What did the people expect, right? Mr. Ricardo would have said not a lot of people pay attention to the manifesto, right? However, that is an opinion. I don't know if that is true or if it is false. What I do know is that manifesto is what was agreed to formally.
By the public.
Formally made a manifesto, and we could go through the details of the manifesto if we had time. But from a macro perspective, we've been talking about development, and what that manifesto said is that half of the development spending, assuming that you're looking at $300 million, which is always the case, almost, right?
Most times, yeah.
Right? Most times. Past administration and present. Half of that spending was not even supposed to be done directly by the THA Executive Council. They said that they were going to give $10 million to each and every district. in the area so that they could spend it themselves. So this is the question I would now say Tobagonians need to ask themselves, right? Because we could argue about whether or not the work they did, this administration, is appropriate for the amount of money they had access to or not, right? And by the way, I just need to say really quickly, I am pleased with at least one thing that happened.
What thing?
In terms of the work that they did. I did a Facebook Live where I was able to count 48 potholes on Oldfield Street within a 1 mile area.
Right. And they fix all.
That live went straight into
Okay.
Wayne Clark's office. And to my pleasant surprise, the person that I saw there was already on the phone working on getting things done in the community, etc. Right? And then when I went home, within an hour, Mr. Wayne Clark called me, right, and said, well, he's been trying to get them to do this stuff, etc. And they were just waiting for a roller or something like that.
Right.
And then shortly after that, I saw the road was fixed. And
Smooth.
I must say, I commend this present administration and specifically Mr. Wayne Clark as the representative of my electoral district, Lambo Lowlands, on a job well done.
So you publicly shamed them to fix the road,
right?
You publicly shamed them to fix the road.
I publicly motivated them, not shamed them. But that being said, the last thing is, right, and this is where I'm going to stop my contribution. We have village councils, right? And the members of these village councils need to ask themselves, what is true for me? Yes, I may think that THA did a good job, or yes, I may think that THA did a bad job, but had they done what they were supposed to do according to the mandate, would I have been able to do better? And I would say one
Who's
last
that, the
thing.
Village Council?
You see the real
because if you
additional
look at-
things.
Yeah,
One last
we're
thing,
going to
one
say,
last
real
thing.
yeah, we're going to
additional
play this
things.
stuff daily, right?
One last thing.
Village
Add her up,
Council,
add her
that's
up.
not the
Aye.
duty of the Village Council, man.
All right. So, again, I thoroughly enjoyed tonight's conversation, fellas. Hopefully, we can have many more like it, discussing many more topics like it as well. All right. But for now, we have to call it a night for tonight's program. I want to thank you guys for coming out once more and, gracing Tobago with your presence and your opinions. All right. But until we come back again next week, Tobagonians, mind your business. Have a good night.